Infectious diseases, respiratory disorders, burns, injuries from falls, and accidents resulting from ash-induced haze are some of the health issues that might arise after a massive blast. A blast of a volcano eruption. But besides these physical damages, a supervolcano eruption like the Yellowstone volcano can do worse for us. It can affect the environment, the climate, and even human evolution. Want to know more about it? Stick till the end of the video as we're going to share with you how Yellowstone can affect human evolution. Hello and welcome back everyone. Before we start, subscribe to the channel to get more videos like this, and don't forget to press the bell icon. Having said that, let's begin. One of the most beautiful sights on Earth is the Yellowstone caldera. Nowhere else can you discover as much evidence of significant volcanic eruptions alongside so many hot springs, mud pots, and other modern features. The majority of people now focus on those huge volcanic explosions to the point where any small blip at the caldera can be covered by the media. There are about 20 supervolcanoes that are known to exist. The Yellowstone caldera in the United States is one of the most well-known. 2 VEI-8 eruptions are known to have occurred in Yellowstone in the past. The Volcanic Explosivity Index, or VEI, which ranges from 0 to 8, is a relative indicator of how explosive a volcanic eruption is. The Mount St. Helens eruption in 1980 has a VEI of 5. Scientists have found at least 27 separate rhyolite lava flows that emerged from vents inside the caldera during past eruptions. The most recent was about 70,000 years ago. Several tens of thousands of years separated several of these eruptions from one another in time. We don't truly know how often the volcano has erupted because the remains of prior eruptions may have been either buried or destroyed. The 3 caldera-forming eruptions were respectively nearly 6,000, 700, and 2,500 times more powerful than the Mount St. Helens explosion in Washington state on May 18, 1980. The Grand Canyon was filled with ash and lava from the 3 devastating eruptions combined. And now let's see how the eruption can harm the climate and human life. Gases that have been dissolved within magma are what propel most volcanic outbursts. Gases are released from the liquid portion of the magma as it rises towards the surface and pressure drops. These gases continue to ascend and are eventually released into the atmosphere. Huge gas releases can occur quickly during large eruptions. The safest and most prevalent volcanic gas is water vapor. But apart from that, volcanoes can also release substantial volumes of carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, hydrogen sulfide, and hydrogen halides. These gases all have the potential to be dangerous to people, animals, crops, and property depending on their concentrations. The calderas are located over the Yellowstone hotspot beneath the Yellowstone Plateau, where hot, glowing magma molten rock is rising from the mantle. The hotspot, which is responsible for the eastern half of Idaho's Snake River Plain, appears to move across the landscape in an east-northeast direction. But in reality, it is much deeper than the nearby terrain and stays stationary as the North American plate moves over it in a west-southwest direction. Volcanologists keep an eye on a variety of potentially active volcanoes for characteristics including rising and falling ground levels. This can help us determine if magma is moving miles beneath the surface or away from it. However, hot fluids and groundwater can also be related to the ups and downs of the ground. Along with the 3 climatic eruptions, each of the 3 caldera cycles was coupled with an activity that led to dozens or possibly hundreds of minor eruptions. The ground collapsed as a result of the massive amount of material from the most recent Yellowstone eruption, resulting in a depression known as a caldera. The caldera measures 80 by 55 kilometers in width. The ramifications of the upcoming eruption are expected to be catastrophic on a global scale. A volcanic hotspot caused the Yellowstone supervolcano to form. With an estimated 98,386 fatalities and 5.6 million affected in the 20th century, there have been around 274,443 verified volcano fatalities in historical records. The Mount Pelly eruption in Martinique in 1902, which claimed 30,000 lives, had the most fatalities of any volcanic event in the 20th century. The environment can be affected by very massive volcanic eruptions and super eruptions because of the volcanic aerosol in the atmosphere. Volcanic sulfate aerosol can linger in the stratosphere for several years, or perhaps a decade after a particularly massive eruption, scattering incoming radiation back to space and absorbing outgoing long-wave radiation. This will result in major warming of the aerosol-containing layers and big negative temperature anomalies at the surface, changing the circulation and makeup of the atmosphere and the ocean. The ocean heat content decreases following significant volcanic eruptions, according to simulations of previous eruptions, and these anomalies can last for decades. The Yellowstone volcano would release 2,000 million tons of sulfur into the atmosphere if it erupted fully. The sulfuric acid aerosols would cover the rest of the planet within 2 to 3 weeks, causing temperatures to fall by up to 10 degrees on average worldwide and as much as 12 degrees in some regions like the Northern Hemisphere. The duration of these decreased global temperatures might be between 6 and 10 years, after which they would return to normal. Due to greater temperature drops in the Southern Hemisphere brought on by such a change in the world temperatures, the seasonal monsoon is expected to fail, resulting in drought in the Asian nations that depends on the monsoon rains. Minerals, volcanic glass, and microscopic pieces of ragged rock make up volcanic ash. Volcanic ash, in contrast to the soft ash produced by burning wood, is tough, abrasive, and doesn't dissolve in water. Volcanic ash typically consists of particles no longer than 2 millimeters in diameter. Given the expansion of population, the proximity of large cities to volcanoes, and the potential for larger eruptions, there is a considerable risk of catastrophic losses from future eruptions. While very thin particles of volcanic ash are powdery, coarse particles resemble and feel like sand grains. Tephra, a term used to describe all solid material ejected by volcanoes, can also severely harm the environment. Explosive volcanic eruptions produce ash. Expanding magma chamber gas pressure forces molten rock forcefully upward and out of the volcano. The intensity of these explosions causes the liquid rock to break and shoot into the air. Magma cools and hardens into volcanic rock and glass pieces in the atmosphere. The volcanic mountain itself and the magma chamber can both be destroyed by eruptions. The solidified lava fragments in the air in these rock bits may be combined to form an ash cloud. Small volcanic ash particles can travel enormous distances in the wind. Thousands of kilometers from the eruption location, ash has been discovered. The wind will take a particle farther if it's smaller. The infrastructure of entire villages and regions can be affected by volcanic ash. Ash can get inside and interfere with the operation of equipment and communication, sewage treatment, water supply, and power supply systems. Additionally, heavy ash falls can harm cars and impede rail and road traffic. Volcanic ash becomes a heavy cement-like slurry that can bring down roofs when combined with rain. In 3 different provinces, the roofs of buildings and houses collapse due to a combination of heavy rain and ashfall. In addition to endangering ecosystems, ash also endangers people and animals. Volcanic ash can accumulate harmful gases like carbon dioxide and fluorine. Crop failure, animal death, deformity, and human illness are all potential consequences of the ensuing ashfall. Ash's abrasive particles can irritate and inflame the skin surface as well as the eyes. Volcanic ash can harm the lungs and interfere with breathing if inhaled. A person can suffocate if they breathe in a lot of volcanic gas and ash. The most frequent method of mortality from a volcano is suffocation. The impacts of another big caldera-forming eruption at Yellowstone would be felt all around the world. Regional impacts from such a massive eruption would include falling ash and brief alterations to the world climate. Pyroclastic flows can harm Yellowstone's immediate surroundings in the states of Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming. While falling ash would have an impact farther in the United States, the amount of ash would decrease with distance from the eruption site. Withdrawal of partially molten rock magma from below causes the ground surface to collapse during such eruptions, creating calderas, which are large volcanic depressions. Fortunately, the likelihood of this kind of eruption in Yellowstone in the coming tens of thousands of years is incredibly low. Millions of people would perish if the Yellowstone volcano erupted entirely and covered most of the United States in ash. Most humans would perish within 1,000 cubic kilometers of the eruption due to airborne ash that causes cement-like buildup in the lungs. A supervolcano's magma would primarily be blasted into the atmosphere, where it would float around as incredibly hot and sharp particles rather than turning into lava. However, outside of the United States, the ash would be more like a dusting. Therefore, such countries would not face the harshest impacts of such an eruption from the Yellowstone volcano. Some of the ash from the Yellowstone volcano would also reach Europe and other regions of the world. Do you think the consequences can be more dangerous if the Yellowstone monster wakes up? Express your thoughts in the comments. That's it for the day, guys. We hope you liked the video. Please click the like button if you did. And if you're new here, make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell. Thanks for watching.